So in today's session, we are gonna discuss about access modifiers. So till now I just informed you about what is an access modifier. So today's session we are going in much detail about that, and we are just decoding each and everything clearly about access modifiers. So when coming to this access modifiers, so what is the term called access? So do you have access to Instagram, or else I have asked you n number of times, do you have access to your portal? So do you have access to WhatsApp group, or else do you have access to come to our office? So do you have fingerprint access to log in into office, or whatever the terms? So you have here that. So access is nothing but the something like permissions. So in your words, I can say it was like permission or credentials. So when it goes to the technical term, okay. So I don't want to use that much technical term. So when coming to this access, so it defines the scope of entering or giving the permission or seeking the things. Yes, of course we can define it whatever the term that you want. But at the end of the day, the access modifiers in Java, it defines the scope or visibility of the members of class. Members of class. What are the term called members of class? What are the class members? Variables, methods, and constructor. So these are the only things, right, we are taking down in the class level, right? So in the class, so if I open the class brackets, so what are the things that I can write in this entire class? Even though it was 1000 lines of class or 1000 lines of Java program, it contains class, it contains curly brackets, it contains variables, and it contains methods, and in some scenarios it contains constructor. So the only things is, yes, of course I can take down the variables, and then I can take down the constructor, and I can take down n number of methods inside the class. Okay, so when coming to this access modifier, so it is defined as visibility or scope of the members in the class. So members in the class are nothing but variables, constructors, and methods. Okay, so when coming to this list of access modifiers that we have, so as we already discussed in the previous sessions, list of access modifiers. There is public, protected, default, and private. So try to remember the list of the access modifier in this format. So why I am asking to remember you in this format, so you will get understand. So once I will explain the things in detail, try to remember this thing: public, protected, default, and at last private. Okay, so please try to remember this thing in the same format. So default is nothing but there is no keyword. For default there will be no keyword. Okay, no keyword was described for default thing. But for public, yes, of course you are using public void add method, and you are using public class. Yes, of course you are using public. Yes, of course if you want for the variables also, you can use public int I is equal to 10, public int j is equal to 10, or yes, of course you can use like that. You can use like that. So this public, so the only table that I can describe you, so which helps you to remember the things is, so if you remember these things like this, so yes, of course I will take down the another thing here on the top. Yeah, from here, so I will take down the class, and I will take down the package. So try to remember these things in this way. Subclass, so you are all aware of what is a subclass. In the inheritance concept, the child class is known as the subclass, and the parent class is known as the superclass. And the world is nothing but in your entire folder. So I asked you to create one folder on your desktop saving Java under the name Java. So in that Java only you have a number of packages that you have created and a number of class files, right? So here world describes your project. Your project is Java on your desktop. So in the real-time scenario also, yes, of course there will be one folder saying with your what is that project name. So that means it entire world is nothing but in that entire folder. Yes, wherever you want you can use, so when coming to this thing, so I will simply take down the things here. So this table will help you very much. So if you remember the things like this, so it is very easy to remember. So I hope so. So I will tell you a real-time example. So based on this table, okay. So based on this table, so yes, of course, I will. What is a take a what is a some example. So let us assume that. So this class is me, okay. So this package is my brother, and this subclass is, let us assume that these are subclass is my children. So no, not like that. So so let us assume that this class has me, and this package has my wife, and this subclass has my children, and this world has my relatives. Assume like that, okay. So assume this public as a car. So I brought a car. So it was been 1.5 years. So the access for that car, even I can drive that car if I want. My wife can drive that car. Access. She can take the keys from the, what is that, top of the refrigerator. So wherever I keep, she can go with the keys, and she can go with the shopping mall, DMart, so whatever the things that she wants. And also the car can be accessed by my children. They can go out with their friends and all. And if any relatives came to my home also, so I said to my relatives only before that, saying that if whenever you want my car, come and take the car. No need any permission, just simply come and take the key and go. That's it. I am giving the access when it was public. So now my car is public. So wherever you want, within the class or within the package or within the subclass or within the entire project, yes, of course, you can get the access for that variable, car variable. Understood the example? So now let us assume that, so I had one laptop. So I had one laptop, and that laptop is for some personal use, some business things and all. So okay, so I don't want my relatives to know about my businesses. So that's the reason I kept n over here to the world. So world are my relatives, and I don't want to give access for them to show my laptop and to give the details in my laptop, saying that these are my businesses, and this is the Excel sheet, and this is my income for the last month, and I don't want to show all that for them. But I give the access for myself, and also for my wife, and also for my children, when it was protected. So I was protecting it from the world. Understood? So likewise, so whatever the variables and the methods that you have using, yes, of course, you can use within the class, within the package, and within the subclass, and also and you can't give the access for the protected using the word. So the protected keyword is only for the class, package, and subclass, not for the world. Good. So now laptop was done. So I had my mobile phone, my personal mobile phone. So okay, so my personal mobile phone was default, no keyword was there. So I was protecting my mobile from my children, and also from the relatives. It has a password, and I am giving the password. I know the password. So why? Because it was my mobile phone. So I was given the access. I kept the fingerprint of my wife as well. Why? Because she must also know about those things. My mobile phone. Good. Done. So while you are not using any keyword, public void add method. So if you remove that public, this default as no keyword. So don't try to write default void add. Default void add. For default modifier, there will be no keyword. Good. And this default can be accessed within the class level methods, and also in the package, but not out of the package. Out of the package is nothing but, so if you are inside the base package, so you can use this access modifier default. So whatever the variables are the methods that you have assigned there, yes, of course, you can call within the package, but not outside the package, and not outside the, what is that, subclass. So in the subclass, so in the child class, yes, of course, you are not possible. It won't allow you to access those things. Why? Because you use it as a default thing over there. So now private. So I had my office mobile phone, and I don't want to give access to my wife as well, and also my children, and also my relatives. The access for that mobile phone, office mobile phone, will be mine, and the accessibility of that modifier and the variables and the methods of that mobile phone is applicable only for me. Class is me over here. Understood the things? So if you are aware of this table, so if you aware of this workflow, how it was taking down the things easier, so then you are now good enough to use these access modifiers. Public, protected, default. For the default there will be no keyword, and private. So most of the scenarios, this private is a keyword where you use in the encapsulation thing. Oh, sorry, not in the in the encapsulation only you will use this private keyword to generate the getters and setters. So tomorrow I will let you know about the encapsulation much deeper. Okay, so now, yes, of course we are done with the access modifiers. Now you can use whatever the words that you have to describe this all access modifiers with the help of this table. So now let us go with the polymorphism. So what is polymorphism? When coming to this polymorphism, so it is an ability of an object to take on many forms. So I will simply split this one. Poly is many, morphism forms, many forms. Polymorphism, yes, of course you can describe those things by separating these things as poly as many, morphism as forms, many forms. So what is meant by many forms? So when coming to your class, so let us assume that we have public class, and one thing I just want to inform you that, so whatever the class that you have taken, the class name if you have taken as test, that class name must be a public class, not private, protected or default. Not private, public, or protected or default. It must be a public class. So see for the class name. So if you have any folder in your Visual Studio Code, so let me open the Visual Studio Code for your understanding. VS Code. Whatever the class name that you have taken down. So if you have taken down text, demo, test, so whatever the thing that you have, that class must be a public class, not protected, private or default. And it is not a good practice if you take down the things like that. So see here, so my file name is octo.java, so automatically my class name is public class octo. Yes, of course you will get a clear explanation on how the things will happen when we are talking about the inner classes. So when it was time, I will explain about the inner classes as well much deeper. So at that time you can find those things. Okay, so then when coming to this public class test, so I have taken down something called public void add method. Okay, so this is my method. So now I got a ticket, so nothing but in this test class, so you must have to add another two methods with the same name called add, nothing but, so I'm simply copy pasting these things, copy, changed. So it won't allow you to take down the things easier like this. It won't allow you to take the same thing, same name, and n number of times. The same method name n number of times. Yes, of course you can add a, d, d, e, you can add t, like that. Now it will take. But my requirement is, so I want three methods with same name. Three methods with same name. So at that time what will happen? So at that time we will use this polymorphism concept. So we will take down n number of methods with the same name with the help of some rules. So what are meant by the rules? So rules are nothing but, yes, of course we will take down two different types of polymorphisms. So I will explain the things here. So when coming to this polymorphism, so it is a ability of an object to take on many forms. That's it. And coming to this types of polymorphism. So one thing will be compile time, and another thing will be a runtime. So what is the difference between the compile time error and the runtime error? So the compile time error is nothing but, so before the compilation, you can find in the Visual Studio Code there will be red lines, right? So whatever the error that you are finding on that, so that will be the compile time error, and it will compile as well. So if there is no error in your point of view and you are not getting the required output, that is called as runtime error. Yes, of course you have taken down the syntax very properly and there is no error that was showing in the Visual Studio Code, even though once it was done, it was not showing the required output that you want. Then it was known as a runtime error. So now we are not talking about the errors, so I just want to describe the types of polymorphism, so compile time and runtime. So yes, of course, polymorphism, compile time polymorphism and runtime polymorphism. So what is the difference between the compile time polymorphism and runtime polymorphism? So the same thing which I told you now, when coming to this compile time polymorphism, so it can be achieved at compilation time. At compilation time, Java compilation time. And it is also referred as, there is another name for it. It is also called as method overloading. Method overloading. Yes, of course, I will let you know how you can, remember this thing, method overloading. And the runtime polymorphism is also known as, so it is applicable at the runtime, Java runtime, achieved at the Java runtime. So it is also known as method overriding. Method overriding. So I simply remember the things. So if I find the runtime R, so I will get to know that it was a method overriding. Overriding R. So I simply remember the things like that, R and R. So what was the remaining thing? Overloading and compile time. That's it. So I remember things like that. So till now, till date, I remember things like that only. Simple. When they ask about the runtime polymorphism, I simply get that overriding. Why? Because run R and overriding R. So what is the rest? Just compile time polymorphism and the overloading. That's it. Nothing more than that. So now, when coming to this compile time polymorphism, or that is yes, of course, we need to know about this compile time polymorphism. So if you have taken down these things like this, it was a compile time polymorphism and it won't allow the things to compile only. Before the compilation only you are getting the error saying that add was repeated 3 times and I'm not sure what to take down the things. The same as the packages. So how you can't take in one package as the same class name and number of times. So try once in one package. So try to create different Java classes with same name. Test.java, test.java, test. It won't take. Not only in Java. So in your system also. So in your Windows system. So if I have the if I have the folder over here. So in the desktop. So let me open one thing. 1 second, working on it. So October Java. So I have opened this thing. So yeah. So here, if I want to create a folder with the same name of day 1 Java intro with the same cases and same symbols and all, it won't allow. It will say that day 1 Java intro is already existed in this path and you are not supposed to create the same folder with the same name. Try to give another name. So that same thing is applicable for Java point of view as well and the Java concepts as well. So when coming to this method overloading, so now let us discuss about this method overloading. So I'm taking down these things in the down, method overloading. To come out of it, nothing but to come out of this error. So we will use the concept of not. What is not? So I think you are all aware of not keyword. Not keyword, right? So not is saying that you are saying no, not required. It was not necessary. Not. So now what is not? So now I will explain things like this. O, 1 second, T, sorry, T, that, so not. So why I am saying not? Number of parameters, order of parameters, types of parameters. Types of parameters, and this is how I remember the things. So I am helping you to figure out the things easier, and I am helping you to remember the things more better. Not is a principle that we are using in the method overloading, and but you must not tell the interviewer like that. You must have to explain these things: number of parameters, order of parameters, and types of parameters. Not the not symbol or not word. Okay, number of parameters, order of parameters, and types of parameters. So that's the reason the starting letters I have taken as not, N-O-T, number, order, and type. So that will be easier for you to remember those things. So now, so let us take number of parameters. So I'm just taking this, copy pasting the things here. So now what I will do is, so I simply copy paste the things like this. So now what is meant by copy. So this is number of parameters. So in the same class, I am adding two methods with the same method name called add. At that time, so I will follow this principle saying that number of parameters. So number of parameters int I, comma int j. Good. Int I or int a. Good. So now it will won't throw any error. Why? Because here I followed the rule of method overloading. In the compile time only, it won't throw me any error. Why? Because here the add method parameters are 2. Count was 2, I and j. When coming to this another method add, so the count of that one will be 1, int a. So I have followed the number of parameters, and now I have crossed the method overloading and no compile time error, and thus of course I will run the program. Now order of parameters, int b, comma a, string d, string f, comma int a. So now what I was followed? Order of parameters. Here in the first place I have used integer value, integer parameter, and in the second place I have used the string. And in the next place, same in the add method. So I have followed the string in the first place and int in the second place. Order was been changed. So now I don't get the error in the execution time. Method overloading. I was overloaded the method. Loading the method with not thing. Loading the method. Loading the gun with the bullets. Loading your car with the petrol or diesel like that. So at that point of time I am loading the methods with not. Number of parameters, order of parameters, and types of parameters. So now let us take down the types of parameters. Int k, comma int l. Capital L I was taken there. String a, comma string s, comma string q. So now what I was followed? So I was followed types of parameters. Types of parameters, and this add is a method which holds the integer data types in it. But this is a method, this is a add method with strings data types. Why? Because so in the earlier stages only I have explained you that. So whenever you find the parenthesis brackets, so you need to pass the parameters inside that. So till now you have passing the parameters in the sysout statement saying that double quotations hello world, that is a parameter. Parameter is nothing but the data that you are allocating to that thing, to that particular thing, to that particular method. Dot println is a method. And in that method, yes, of course, you will have parenthesis bracket, and yes, of course, you are passing the parameter value saying that hello world, or enter your number plus I or plus S Yes, of course, you are passing a number of data types, variables, and whatnot. So likewise, yes, of course, you are obeying this method overloading, and as of course, you are trying those things, figuring out those things, and you are not getting any error. Why you won't get the any error? Why? Because you have followed this principle, the method overloading, and there will be no execution error. There will be no execution error. And when coming to this method overriding, what is meant by method overriding? Oh, copy paste the things. Method overriding. So what is meant by override? So when you are traveling in a car, you might have heard about override. He has done the override of my car. Nothing but he has crossed me. So I am in the first place. So for the toll gate, but one of my sorry. So there is a car behind my car. So he just crossed me. He was overriding of me. And your parents say that don't override the vehicle. Why? Because he was going fast. Don't override. So what is meant by override here? What is the term of override means? Whenever you pass the value in the method, nothing but, so in the inheritance concept, so you have taken down in the grandfather class saying public void land. Okay, so you have taken the public void land in the grandfather class. Okay, it was a comment. Grandfather class, and then here in the sysout statement, you simply saying that land bought by grandfather. So if I am doing any spelling mistakes, so please let me know. Why? Because I'm not that much aware of the spellings. Land bought by grandfather, and the value of it is 2 acres. Sorry, 2 acres. Okay, so this is the method that you have given in the grandfather class. So grandfather has just earned that, but your father made that 2 acres of land into 10 acres of land. Your father, as a child for your grandfather, he earned a lot of money, and let us assume that he made that 2 acres of land into 4 acres of land. At that time, what will happen? The serial number and the land property will be the same, right? Nothing but, let us assume that, so if I am my father bought one land in Bengaluru of 1 acre. So if I want to increase that value, I need to buy in Kakinada or Hyderabad? No. At the same place, I will extend the land with 1 acre. And now I will say the count for my relative, saying that now we has 2 acres of land in Bengaluru. Understood the concept? So now in your father class, so what you are doing is you are injecting the same thing, land, same method name, and here you are taking the sysout statement, the value is changed, saying that so land property was increased by my father four acres. Now this property was overridden. So my father was overridden the property. He was changed the 2 acres of land to 4 acres. Yes, sometimes you might find this at the rate override annotation. So, and I will let you know what is the use of that at the rate override annotation. Nothing but it was indicating that this method name is already used in your super class. So when you want to buy a property, there will be one link document, parent document. So with the help of that parent document only, yes, of course, you can take down the registration easier. So if you are not understanding the things, please let me know. I will take down another example for that. But I think this is the best example that I can give for you. Whenever you are buying any property, for that property there will be a parent, what is that, a registration form or parent document. Or else, let us take down the things easier. So if you are buying a laptop in the second hand. Who is the first owner for that? So whenever the shopkeeper was buying the laptop from the customer, he will ask for the insurance on the bill and box, charger and all. So instead of asking all that, if he simply buy, so if you are now ready to buy that laptop, no. You want the document, parent thing. So the bill will be the name of the first owner. The laptop bill will be under the name of the first owner. The name of the laptop will be the bill of the first owner. The first owner of that land is grandfather. And then my father has increased the value, overridden the value. So now you as a second hand customer, so now you will get the bill and also you will get the previous bill. Understood? Shopkeeper will give you the new bill saying that you brought this product from my thing and it was a second hand and this is the original bill, and he will give the original bill as well as the duplicate bill on your name. Understand the things? So now with the help of this override, so you got to know, so whenever you find 100 lines of code, whenever you find this override, you must have to assume that so this method is being overridden, nothing but there is a previous owner for that method. So we are updating the value in that. We are updating the value in that method. That is called as method overriding. That is known as method overriding. And whenever, if my relatives ask me, why? Because I extends my father and grandfather. So before my father has overridden this property, so if my relatives ask me what is the property value of your assets in the Bangalore, I said 2 acres. But now, once the overridden has been taken place in my father class, if any of the relatives ask me, now I will say it was 4 acres, updated value. So no need to delete this thing. No need to delete this thing in the grandfather class. Yes, of course, however, you will extend the father and the grandfather. So now you are eligible saying that, so yes, of course, my father was overridden this property. Yes, now my property value is 4 acres. Property value is 4 acres. And now, 1 second, spelling mistake. Yeah. So what is the use of this override? So most of the times, so if you are a super coder, so if you are aware of this name, this what is the method name, then no need to use this @override symbol on the top. If you are using this @override symbol, so if you are taking down the mistake, land E. So my father thought that it was land E like that, or lands like that. Not yes, it was yes, lands. So then it will throw an error saying that hey father, you are buying another land. It was not the same property that your father brought in that in these properties and in the matters. You are trying to make it another thing, and don't try to use me. If you are using me, so I will return the error saying that it was not the same property what your father brought. So if you are using me, I will suggest you to check the name of the method name that you are using in the top. And yes, of course, it will throw the error and I will delete. I will check, I will go to the previous class and I will check what is the name for that, and I will change the name to it. I will change the name to it. Understood? So in the real time scenarios, so that it was in marketing, what the rate override is a marketing thing. So that marketing manager helps me to buy the same land where my father has bought the 1 acre. So beside that only he was helping me to buy that. Understood? So if I am using that manager, marketing manager, he will throw an error saying that whatever the site that you are buying, it was not the right site where your father has bought, and you are buying the another property somewhere else and it was not good for you. He will suggest me like that. The same suggestion you will get if you are not using this @override thing. So as a father, if I know each and every assets of my father, understood? If so if I am in the position of my this father class, so if I know each and every property where it was located of my father's thing, grandfather's thing, so I no need to use this @override symbol. Why? Because I know the name of this method. I know the name of that thing, so I can simply take down the things easier like this without using @override. So if you think that I am a bit confused, so my father has n number of acres in Bengaluru, in BML or BTM or something. So whatever the location that you are staying from, so if you have n number of properties, and now you will get confused. At that time, you will use @override. Oh, sorry. override. So with the help of this override, so whatever the property that you want to update, whatever the method that you want to update, it will give you the suggestion. So you have used the wrong name or you have the correct name, it will give you the suggestion. So good. So that's all for today.